Welcome into our Talk Radio WRNR and TV10 coverage of tonight's semifinal matchup in AAA high school football in West Virginia as the Martinsburg Bulldogs will play host to the Bridgeport Indians. Our apologies, not sure how the sound is right now. Nick Verzolini is by my side. I'm Matt Miller. We have a whole host of cast of characters, if you will, that have been working very diligently to try to get us on the air here this evening. Our situation is very simple. At about 1:20 this afternoon on Eagle School Road, where our radio station is located, a tree fell into the power lines, and the tree fell with such force that it actually snapped the nearest telephone pole. Power crews have been working throughout the afternoon, and the latest report that we have received is that power in our area there along Eagle School Road will not be restored for another couple of hours. So we would be looking at the 8 o'clock, maybe even as late as the 9 o'clock hour. We have efforted in many ways to get things done, whether through the radio station or even directly from here at the field. And our last-ditch effort, if you will, is that we are coming to you right now live through YouTube, but through a cell phone here in the press box. So all of our regular equipment that would normally be connected in is not. You are simply hearing my voice through the external speaker, which means you can hear the band, I'm sure, walking by, a little bit of crowd noise and the PA and stuff as well. So please bear with us. We will turn the camera as much as we can and try to be able to at least keep you up to date about what's going on as this game gets underway. All right, Nick. Hey, man, welcome to the broadcast. Welcome to the fun of live radio/video for high school playoff football, where you got to do whatever it takes to get a game on the air.
Right, I mean, man, it's your last one, and it could just come smoothly, right? So we're out here, we were bringing it to you. It's definitely the strangest broadcast I've done so far, but hey, we got a great football game tonight.
Yeah, that's the thing. This is a matchup of two of the top teams, not only in AAA, as Martinsburg comes in as the number 2 seed. They, through the 13 games, or 12 to reach this point, come in at 11-1, and it's a 12-0 mark for the number 3 seed, the Bridgeport Indians. But not just what these two programs have done this season. Nick, this is a matchup of two of the top programs across the Mountain State for decades.
Yeah, they haven't really faced each other a whole lot over the history of these programs, but both of them known for winning state championships. Martinsburg with their 8 in AAA, and Bridgeport has won several at AA and AAA. So, it's two of the better programs in the history of the state of West Virginia, and that's what you expect in a state semifinal match.
Martinsburg has been to that AAA title game now 12 times, as you mentioned, winning 8 of those. And for the Bridgeport Indians, they've been to the title game 11 times and have reeled off 10 victories in those appearances. Again, many of those coming in AA. In fact, their AAA titles came all the way back in 1972 and again in 1979. They've been AA titles since then, and so they are trying to get to that AAA title game to see if they would get a chance to maybe bring home another AAA title. Of course, Martinsburg is trying to get back after winning the championship in 2019. Neither team had a chance to get to Wheeling Island Stadium last year. This is actually a matchup that could have occurred last year in that quarterfinal round, as Martinsburg was scheduled to host Bridgeport when Berkeley County went red on that horrid COVID color map, and the Martinsburg program, along with Spring Mills and Musselman, were shut down at that point. Bridgeport was advanced to the next round, where unfortunately their COVID color map knocked them out, and they did not get a chance to ultimately go on. But it was South Charleston who was named as the state champion last year. And well, these two teams are now hopeful that they could get back and face either Huntington or Cabell Midland in that title game. Ironically enough, the 2019 AAA title win for Martinsburg came against Cabell Midland, and those two teams are meeting tonight as well. Cabell Midland is the 5 seed, they're 11-1. Huntington at 12-0 is the number 1 seed. That looks like a great matchup tonight as well.
It is, and it's a big rivalry in that part of the state. The battle for the Shield is what it's known as, and those are two of the elite programs in the Mountain State Conference. So two really good teams. They played a great game earlier this season that Huntington won. in the last few minutes, 21-17. So it's a rivalry on that side of the state, and two of the more historic teams in the state going at it tonight here in Martinsburg.
That game also scheduled to kick off at 7:30. We'll keep you updated with scores from that one as we bring you our matchup here. While we're doing it, let's do our check of the playoff schedule. There have already been a couple of semifinal games played on this day after Thanksgiving. 1:30 kicks in AA for Bluefield is the 14 seed at the 2 seed Independence, and Independence improves to 11-0 and advances to what we would understand is their first state championship since the school was built in 1976. Independence knocked off Bluefield 34-20. That ends a great run for Bluefield when you consider that they didn't play their first game of this year until September the 3rd, and then didn't get to play again until October the 8th as they dealt with COVID issues in the early part of the season. And then when they did play, they played on the 8th, again on the 10th, and again on the 15th. 3 games in a very short period of time. They battled just to get as far as they got in this postseason, and Bluefield traditionally one of the powers in AA.
Yeah, and that's impressive that they just made it that far after you went over that schedule. And for the most part, this year has been kind of a return to normalcy for high school football, at least compared to last year with all the craziness. But still, COVID a big issue for a lot of teams. So that's unfortunate that kind of affected their season. But it's impressive that they even made it this far with all that.
Yep. Independence will await the winner of tonight's other AA semifinal. It has the 16 seed Fairmont Senior at the 5 seed Polka. Can the Polar Bears pull a Musselman Appleman? Yeah, they were the ones to do it back in 1995 when the Appleman, as the 16 seed, went all the way to win that state championship in a hard-fought, tight victory over Bluefield. Well, Fairmont Senior hoping they might do the same thing. You look at 3 of their 4 losses, and they've come against AAA teams, and not just any AAA teams, but highly ranked. Bridgeport, who Martinsburg faces tonight, University, who got ousted in the quarterfinal round last weekend, and Spring Valley, who Martinsburg defeated last weekend. So Fairmont Senior playing that very tough schedule certainly has them prepared as they take on Polka, the number 5 seed. They come in at 9-2. Again, that game tonight is at 7:30. Meanwhile, in single A, how about the 6 seed Williamstown? They took it to Doddridge County, the 2 seed today, 43-0 in a game that kicked off at 1:30 this afternoon. And Williamstown improving to 11-2. Will head back to the title game for the first time since 2018 when they lost against Wheeling Central Catholic. And by the way, Wheeling Central, as the 8 seed, will be at the 4 seed Ritchie County tomorrow afternoon at 1:30, and that will wrap up all of the semifinal games. Surprising, only one semifinal on a Saturday after Thanksgiving, as all of the other games being played today. 2 already finals, and then we've got 3 games going on this evening, including our matchup that has Martinsburg taking on Bridgeport. Again, doing this directly by phone. If you missed it, as we've come on the air late, a power outage along Eagle School Road has kept us from being able to get our regular broadcast in. We're doing the best that we can to bring you the action here this evening through our WRNR TV or TV10 YouTube channel. Once power is restored, we will go back to all of our regular formats, and we'll be able then to get the game out through radio along with TV10 as well as our YouTube channel. You're going to have to deal with all of the external noise, including my fighting a head cold that has my scratchy throat, meaning some coughing in the midst of all that is going on. But Nick, when you look at this matchup, and we had a chance to talk with the coaches this week, certainly contrasting styles as to how these 2 teams want to go about what they do tonight.
Yeah, Bridgeport runs that single wing offense that is pretty basic in terms of they're going to run the football, but it's tough to tell who's going to get the football in any given play, and that will be a challenge for Martinsburg tonight. And Martinsburg, obviously, a spread team. They'll run a whole lot of different offenses, so that will be a challenge for Bridgeport. But they did kind of face that last week with Jefferson, but obviously the Bulldogs a much bigger challenge.
Let me turn the camera as we pause for the national anthem from the Martinsburg High School Marching Band. So there you go, the Martinsburg High Marching Band with the national anthem, the junior ROTC presenting the colors as they will make their way off the field. We will await for the teams to head out onto the field shortly, and we'll have the coin flip and get you ready for all of the action. Again, special thanks to all of our crew that has been working so hard to try to get us on this evening, along with Nick Verzolini. I'm Matt Miller, Isaiah Horner, and Harry Brown looking to run cameras tonight. Colin McLaughlin has been Johnny on the spot, just working through all of the different avenues and opportunities to get us on the air. Spencer Dupuis, who right now is at the studio, was out here earlier. He's been running back and forth, doing all he can on that end as well as we try to get things going. John Alderton is our on-site producer for this one, and a special shout-out going out to Mike Hornby, who has been on the horn with us as well as we've been trying to work some things out, and also to Rodney, our engineer, and of course to the folks at the Power Company for all of their work trying to get that pole reset and power restored out along Eagle School Road. Again, hopefully that will be coming within the 8 o'clock to maybe 9 o'clock time slot, and once that happens, we will get back on the air in all of our broadcast ways. We should let you know that when that occurs, the feed that you're watching right now through our YouTube channel will likely get cut off so that the new feed can come back on through the radio station. So if that happens, just be aware that all you would need to do is refresh and go back into your WRNR TV or your TV10 YouTube channel, and it will show you the new live feed, and you would be able to jump back in. And hopefully at that point the sound quality will be better, and obviously the camera angle will be better, as we'll then be into our full broadcast. So here we go, a matchup of two teams, Nick, that will find the end zone. When you look at the scoring that these two teams produce, just under 50 points a game for Bridgeport. For Martinsburg, 49 points a game, so both very similar there. And defensively, each giving up just about 15 to 16 points a game. They get it done in different ways, but the numbers all say the same thing.
Yeah, it's funny when you think about Bridgeport as an offense. Teams that run the single wing, they typically do it because they just don't have good athletes. So that's the best way for them to win. They're not necessarily bad athletes, but they just don't have the guys to run a spread offense that teams want to run. So it's different with this team. They can strike very quickly. They put up 74 points last week. So I mean, while they may do it in a more run style, and when you think about that, you think about teams that want to score in like the 20s and keep the game, with their possession. And Bridgeport's not really like that. Obviously, Martinsburg has a ton of talent offensively. They'll be missing a key piece tonight, but still, a very deadly offense.
All right, let's talk about that key piece. It was something that you would have heard in our regular pregame show, as earlier this week before the Thanksgiving break we got a chance to come here to practice and talk with Coach Britt Sherman, and we also got a chance to talk with a pair of players, including E.J. Hendricks, the sophomore, big fella on that offensive and defensive front line. But we also spoke then with Murphy Clement and got the news as we did that interview with Murphy in a boot and on crutches. You might remember last week in that opening quarter, he went out for a couple of series with a foot injury. Nick, you watched him on the sideline closely, taping up a toe, taping up the foot, taping up the ankle. He came back and played the rest of that football game, and ultimately played it with what is called a Liz Frank injury, I believe is the way he explained it, which is a very painful injury. He said after the game he really felt it. The adrenaline was pumping during the game, and unfortunately that injury is one that is going to keep him out not only tonight, but should Martinsburg win, it will keep him out of the championship game as well.
State. The Bulldogs do have guys behind him that are going to need to step up, and also he's became the main running back really behind with Patrick Baxton. Todd went down, and he's probably out for the year as well. So they've had to rely on Murphy to play a lot of different positions for them, and he's done a great job. And it's very unfortunate that he won't be able to finish this season. and I believe Hudson Clement is going to probably be the main running back, which is a completely different role for him. He's usually out there wide receiver, but he's obviously a very good athlete. I just don't know. It's tough to learn a position in a week.
And all that conversation that you just had was about what Murphy Clement does on the offensive side of the football. 40 and a half tackles, 2 interceptions, 1 fumble recovery. From a defensive perspective, you look at it and go, wow, they're going to miss him on that side of the ball just as much as they will on that offensive side of the football. But as it's been all season long, Martinsburg has had guys go down with injury. Braxton Todd, Kai Walker, and others. And as Coach Sherman said, you don't get to hear the interview, but he said, hey, it's the next man up philosophy with this program. We challenge each other every day in practice, so when opportunities come, kids are ready to step in, and that is exactly what will happen now. All right, next man up, let's get in there and get it done.
Yeah, and I think that's what great teams do, is they have that next man up mentality, and when you have as much talent as a team like Martinsburg, you can go to your second and third string guys and hopefully not have too much of a drop-off. Now, obviously, you want to have your team healthy, but if you can get production out of multiple guys, even if it's not just one guy that can step up, that can obviously help your football team. So, not ideal, but when you're in the state semifinals, you got to have a next man up mentality.
Normally we would check in with Colin and see what it's like down on the sideline. Colin below us right now, continuing to work on details to help get us back on the air once power is restored back at the station on Eagle School Road. But I know one thing that he would tell us, it's cold and it's breezy. Now, thankfully, the wind is not as bad as it was earlier today when it knocked that tree over and took out the power at the station. But nonetheless, it's going to have an impact, I would imagine, on this game a little bit with not only the breeze, but as cold as it is, cold hands, cold hard football can sometimes be hard to hold on to and or hard to catch.
Right, and if Hudson Clement's going to play a lot of running back, that takes away one of Martinsburg's big threats in the passing game, or at least at the wide receiver position. So, we'll see how that affects things. And then on the Bridgeport side, it plays in their favor because obviously they're not trying to throw the football. So, if it takes a dynamic away from Martinsburg, that certainly helps.
What do you mean not trying to throw the football? You look at the statistics and they're throwing it twice a game.
10 of 23 passes.
Yeah, completing one a game. Once again, captain's getting ready to meet at midfield. Thanks for putting up with our broadcast here this evening and what we can do to make sure that we get this one on the air and get it out to you as best as we can in the situation that we're in right now. Captain's meeting at midfield. Quickly, Nick, what do you see as some keys to this game for both of these teams?
I think first Martinsburg's got to win the turnover battle. On the season, Bridgeport does not turn the football over. They're plus 17 in their turnover differential. Martinsburg just plus 2. It's not bad, but we'd like to see it be a little bit higher so they can not turn the football over, especially against this team that's going to want to run the ball and control the clock. And then you have to play alignment, assignment football. You have to know your assignment on defense because they're going to snap the ball to a lot of different guys. It's tough to read, and sometimes if you overcommit, then that's when they pull it out and go the other way on you. So you have to be, in your assignment. And then for Bridgeport, I think they need to, play some similar defense than what we saw Martinsburg play on Ty Bartram last week. If Hudson Clement's out wide, make somebody else beat you because Murphy's not back there in the shotgun. So Ezra Baderline, he's a good drop back passer. He doesn't have that ability to create as much as Murphy does and just make plays on his own. So, force other people to step up for Martinsburg, and you want to control the clock and just tackle well against this Bulldogs offense and try to really control the clock and control the pace of the game.
All right, Bridgeport will get the football to get this one underway. Shout out to Jason Dirting. One nice thing about doing this right now through a cell phone, I can see some of the comments that come across and to see the former Bulldog from way back in my early days of broadcasting chiming in and rooting for the Dogs. Thanks to everyone who is joining us here on our WRNR or TV10 YouTube channel for the broadcast. Again, if you would be looking for it on TV 10 throughout Berkeley or Jefferson County, or our radio signals. Power outage preventing us from bringing you the action in that way so far this evening. Once that is fixed by the power company, we'll get back into our regular broadcast. Until then, bear with us, and we will do our best to bring it to you here. Martinsburg decked out along the near sideline in the black uniforms from head to toe, orange lettering and white trim, that black football helmet with the white state and the orange M in the middle of the state. Bridgeport from that far sideline, they have the red pants and the white jersey tops. They have the red and numerals and trim, the red football helmet with the kind of spearhead on the side of that football helmet. They spread out across the field with two men going deep around the 6-yard line to our left, and Brent Terwilliger puts it on a tee along the far side hash mark at the 40-yard line. Let's see if he's going to pop up that kick along the near side. That's what Martinsburg has done through much of the year. It's actually an onside kick. Football was free for just a brief moment, but going down to his knees and smothering that one is Nathan Lotsky. Lotsky is listed as a tight end and a defensive lineman. He is a junior. He corrals it, and Bridgeport will have it at their own 47-yard line to get this game underway.
Didn't really get a chance, man, to talk a ton about Saul Bridgeport's outstanding numbers. They had 2 running backs, over 1,400 yards heading into this game.
Well, and you've got Cole and Reppert in the backfield, and the snap goes directly to the big fella, straight ahead running, and a nice job by Hudson Clement to lower the head and shoulders and take on Landon Reppert and bring down the fullback after a gain of about 4.
Yeah, Bridgeport, they'll take those kind of runs, those short, intermediate runs, because that's the tire out the defense. Good job though by Clement to get low. Reppert is a big kid, tough kid to bring down.
It is a gain of 3 officially to that midfield stripe. Ball just on the other side in Martinsburg territory. It'll be a second down, about 7. Again, Reppert and Cameron Cole back there. Cole takes that snap, this time hands it off. That is Aiden Paulson trying to turn the corner on the left side. It becomes a rugby scrum as he pushes forward down to that Martinsburg 42-yard line. That gain good for 8 and a first down.
These guys also, they have experience, all 3 of their leading rushers, seniors. So, a good group, and the guys that have been in playoff games before and know how to win.
You see what I can do, pardon my fingers getting in the way as we adjust our phone camera just a little bit to try to make sure we keep the action on your screen. First down and 10 from that Bulldog 42. Paulson is the tight wing here to this near side as the snap is back, and it's the first carry for the quarterback, as Cameron Cole, the senior, over the right side of the line. Scoots just inside the 40, mark it at the 39-yard line, and again a gain of 3 on first down.
Good job by Christian Slack to get down the line, work his way kind of through a bunch of bodies to make that tackle.
A feeling out process, if you will, and that's one of the things that Coach Sherman talked about. As you know, he said you can't replicate this with your scout team. You have to have your schemes and ideas and then adjust on the fly, if you will. Second down and 7 from that Bulldog 39. Snap goes back again directly to the fullback, and he is quickly taken down. Christian Slack right there, trying to wait and see who got him right down around the ankles, and that was Aiden Fleming, one of the Bulldog leading tacklers. Second leading tackler was 73 on the season, give him 74. That stop comes after a pickup of about 2, and it's 3rd and 5. This may be 3rd and 4th down territory for this team. With a couple of carries now for 5 yards on 3rd and 5. They'll go right back to the big fella, and the fullback's got the first down inside the 30, down to the 29-yard line. Nice opening right at the line of scrimmage.
And again, it's tough because there's so much motion. You know the run's coming, but what hole are they going to choose? Who's getting the football?
Yeah.
It's very tough to read, especially for these linebackers, you know. So you're going to stack that line of scrimmage because you know a run's coming, but where is it going to come? And there it's just right up the middle, and Reppert were able to get that first down.
Takes it down to the 29, a pickup of about 8 on that 3rd and 5, first down and 10. Looks like the play may be coming in from the sideline, a change up of that play. Snap goes back, and the quarterback keeps it, running right, quickly gets taken down. Rod Musgrove, Jacob Barrick in there, Hudson Clement as well, and coming off the bottom of the pile, waiting to see who it was. Now it's Clement there off the bottom of the pile, and so a great job as the stop comes at the 26, but another pickup of 3 on first down.
And sometimes, too, it's not always about making the tackle as it is just filling a gap. And if you can, control a couple of those linemen and not let them get to the next level, it can also help slow down this rushing attack.
On 2nd down and 7, 8 minutes left in this opening quarter. Initial drive, and there is Cameron Cole on the keeper, straight up the middle into the linebacking core. Cam Shallis in there to help make that tackle. Mark it looks like at the 23, so another 3-yard gain, and it brings up a 3rd and about 4. As you said earlier, this is exactly what this football team wants to do, right?
Yeah, I mean, they'll take 3.5 yards a carry on every play because that's a first down, so it doesn't have to be a big play. They have the ability to do that. They did it last week, putting up those 74 points, but it's not necessarily their identity.
On 3rd down and 4, snap goes back and straight ahead. Power running. Is that the big fullback? Is that Leffert, I believe? Who got that carry? He'll get stopped just short of the 20-yard line. That gain good for about 3, and it will bring up a 4th down and 1. Landon Leffert, they don't give sizes on this roster, just positions and class. And Leffert is a senior. He's a load to bring down when he gets in that hole. Let's see if he gets it again from the 20-yard line on a 4th down and roughly 1. Snap is back, and it is going to be Paulson to the right. He got hit, stood up, driven backwards, and it all depends on the spot. They got it to Aiden Paulson, let Reppert be the lead blocker, and Hudson Clement and Jacob Barrett really did a great job to fill that hole. It's a first down for Martinsburg as they held him. He had to get to the 19-yard line, didn't get it, got inside the 20, but not enough for the first, and the Bulldogs take over on downs.
Again, Martinsburg a week ago, what they do well, inside of that red zone, inside of that 40-yard line or so, they were really good defensively. They bend, but they don't break. Spring Valley got down there several times, and the Bulldogs came up strong. They are on a 4th and short. Interior D-line does their job, and they get the stop.
1st and 10 now from their own 20. Ezra Bajan out of the gun, slings a pass in the flat on the near side. Caught by Xavier Kendall, taken down across the 25 at the 26-yard line. And in on that tackle is Phil Reed, a junior linebacker. So a nice pass to get Ezra Bajan started on a cool and breezy evening. A gain of about 6 yards after the 21-yard line. 2nd and 4 for the Bulldogs, moving from right to left. Snap is back. Receiver screen near side, caught by Jacob Barrick. Barrick along the near sideline, forced out of bounds at about the 31-yard line. Forcing him out was Derek Starkey, senior defensive back, but that gain is good for about 10 and a Bulldog first down.
Really easy completions for Ezra to make, get the ball out quickly to his wide receivers and allow them to make plays after the catch.
Set it out closer to that 32. That last game good for 11. 1st and 10 for Martinsburg. Handoff going to Xavier Kendall up the middle. Kendall able to drag a tackler ahead for a couple of extra yards as he'll get close to that 37, a pickup of 5.
Number 52, Ryan
Tell you, Kendall has really come into his own as this season has gone on for the Bulldogs and now becomes the leading rusher with Braxton Todd and Murphy Clement out.
Yeah, they need him to have a big night on the ground.
On 2nd down and 5, Bajan wants to throw over the middle. The catch is made. Coming to the near side is Hudson Clement, trips up and falls down inside the 40 to about the, marker right on the 40-yard line. And that is Jordan Frazier, a junior safety who was able to make a touchdown-saving tackle.
He's just so hard to cover because he makes, short 5, 7-yard gains into 15, 20-yard gains so easily. I think you got to double team him if you're Bridgeport tonight.
23 yards on that pass completion. 1st and 10 coming now for the Bulldogs. Snap goes back, and Bajent looking near side. The pass on a quick screen, if you will, in the flat on the left, caught by Xavion Kendall. He's inside the 35 to the 34-yard line, brought down there after that pickup of about 6. So again, the Dogs going to that short passing game, getting Xavion Kendall involved out of the backfield. 2nd down and 4 coming up. Snap goes back, and the handoff to Kendall. Kendall slipping through a hole at the line of scrimmage, able to bounce to his right and move down to the 30-yard line where he should have enough for the Bulldog 1st down.
It's impressive how much Martinsburg is able to change from week to week in their game plan. And tonight, last week we saw a lot of Kendall run off tackle. It's just a different offense than what we saw to begin last week.
Snap goes back to Bajent. Dogs wanting to work quickly. Pocket collapsing, but he steps up and throws over the middle. Grab is made. That's Hudson Clement. Hit and taken down at the 20-yard line. That looked like Brazier again on the tackle, but that gain is good for close to 10 in a Bulldog 1st. Let's see if he gets it or not. Yeah, we'll call it a gain of 9 officially, as it's 2nd down and less than 1 with a football at the 20 of Bridgeport. 8th play of this possession coming up, opening possession for Martinsburg after stopping Bridgeport on a 4th and 1 on the opening possession of the game. Xavion Kendall bounces to his right, taking that one outside the tackles down just inside the 15-yard line, and hang on, a penalty marker is down. Midland and Huntington 7-7. We get a score in the early going. This may be a hold against Martinsburg. And there it is, holding Bulldogs. Looks like that's going to occur about 5 yards into that run. So Xavion Kendall will pick up the 5, then comes -10 on the hold. It becomes a 2nd and 5 now from the 25-yard line. So the first penalty of the game goes against Martinsburg. They've struggled with that at times this season. 116 penalties, 975 yards on the year. There is the snap back, and Bajent in trouble, taken down, sacked on the play. That is Aiden Sparks. He's a sophomore defensive end who got in there to make the sack.
Bridgeport number 42.
It's a great play off the edge there. After the penalty, too, now you really
3rd down, 9 from the 29-yard
put
line.
them in a tough situation, 3rd and long.
3rd down and 9 now facing the Bulldogs. 10th play of this possession from the 29 of Bridgeport. Bajent will have 2 receivers each way. Snap comes back. He'll set, looking far side, lets it go. Grab is made, and out of bounds at about the 15-yard line is Hudson Clement with his 3rd catch in the early going of this one, and that gain is good for 14 in a Bulldog 1st.
Bridgeport struggled with the pass defense, all season. While Jefferson gave up 70 points last week, they still scored 49. That's one thing Martinsburg can definitely take advantage of tonight.
1st and 10 now from the 16. Snap is back. Bajent to throw. Wide open in the end zone. He threw it behind Hudson Clement. Clement was going towards the back near corner of the end zone, and that pass was thrown a little in behind him as the two were not quite on the same page.
Yeah, it was a good route and a good play call, but Ezra Bajent just missing that throw. Pretty much, a wide open Hudson there, but couldn't connect.
2nd down and 10 from the 16. Handoff Xavion Kendall looking for running room to the right. There's none. He got wrapped up very quickly and taken down on the play. I see a 6'2" in there. Did you get that as well?
Yes, but we don't have a
2-yard line, 3rd down, 12.
I believe that might be Hall. I'm not sure. Either way, that is going to be a loss on the play, back outside of the 18. We'll call it the 18-yard line. So a loss of 2. And we'll set up third and about 12 for the Bulldogs, and Martinsburg may be burning a timeout.
Bridgeport.
No, it's Bridgeport actually who will burn the timeout. Once again, no commercial breaks for us right now, as we are doing this one simply live over a cell phone from here in the press box, trying to give you the best possible view that we can. If you have missed it earlier, we have had a power outage, a tree coming down with the very windy conditions here in our area at about 1:20 this afternoon. It took out not only the wires, but also took out a telephone pole just literally around the corner from our radio station. The power company has been working, but has yet to get that pole and the power restored. As soon as that happens, then we will get you back to our regular mode of broadcasting. I hope that you can hear us as well as possible, just coming right directly through the speaker on this phone. Timeout Bridgeport as they try to gather themselves defensively and see if they can make a big stop here for Martinsburg and maybe force a field goal attempt. 3rd and 12 coming. Martinsburg faced a 3rd and 9 just a couple of plays back and got a 13-yard pass completion to get the first down. Bridgeport just getting a couple of guys off the field as the snap comes back. Bajan to throw, now steps up in the pocket, slips through a tackle, gets inside the 10-yard line, and gets one down close to the 8-yard line. Not going to be enough for the first, but very close.
Close enough for Coach Sherman to go for it. The Dogs are going to go for it here, and just the whole middle of the field wide open. Good coverage here on the outside by Bridgeport. Keep an eye on Ezra Bajan while he's known for running. He can do it occasionally.
It is 4th down and 1 from the 7-yard line. Bajan looking over the defense, now looking back to the near sideline. Will Martinsburg change up the play call? Trick receivers here to the wide side left. A single receiver out to the right. Savion Kendall going to move to the left side of the quarterback. There is the snap back. Bajan keeping it. He goes to the 6, but I don't think he got it. I'm not sure that he got it. I did not see the number on the young man that came knifing through from the right side of the defensive line, but he dove and got the ankle of Bajan and tripped him up. Virtually no gain on the play, and each team has had a big defensive stop on the other team's opening possession.
I want to say that was all
On the 6-yard line.
making that tackle. And Bridgeport getting that huge stop. And we just saw Martinsburg get one on the other side of the field. I don't know, maybe you kick that field goal. You know Brett Terwilliger can knock that down and take that early lead, but you gotta have, also that's not really Martinsburg style. So
No. Yeah, the Dogs hoping their defense can make a big stop, but a great run by Landon Reppert as he takes that snap, busts through a hole off the right side of the line, gets into the secondary and takes it all the way out to the 20, a gain of 13. That's the type of big play that this team is capable of out of that ground attack.
Yeah, it's going to take a while for Martinsburg to adjust to this. I would say at least this whole first
Snap is back and the handoff goes to Paulson, turning the corner on the left side. Roman Pearson meets him, drives him backwards and gets the stop. Progress will go out to about the 22 for a 2-yard gain.
It's a great job by Pearson. Guys playing kind of different positions against this offense. Obviously bring everybody kind of in close to the line. So Pearson's almost playing outside linebacker where he's normally at the corner, and he's able to do a great job to set that edge and not allow the back to get outside of him. So guys like Musgrove and Pearson, they're not really used to having to make a whole lot of tackles. They're going to have to do it tonight.
No score at the end of our opening quarter. as Bridgeport letting the clock wind down to zeros. How do you like that? Really one major possession for each team in that opening period. Just a couple of plays run in this second possession by Bridgeport. Let me move our camera and we'll work our way to the other end of the field. Again, right now a commercial-free broadcast as we do our best to get the action to you however we can right now with a power outage back at the radio station.
And is excited about his future. For more than a century, plumbers and mechanics have provided reliable.
All right, just got word that between 9 and 9:30 is now the new estimate for when power may be back. But ladies and gentlemen, based on how that first quarter just went, it may be too little too late.
I mean, that first quarter flew by, only about 21 minutes of actual time. So, and again, Bridgeport's going to run the football on pretty much every play tonight. Martinsburg's going to try to run the football a lot. So, yeah, this could definitely, unfortunately, be not enough time for us to get on the air and have a regular broadcast. But we're trying our best out here.
Yeah, I just see someone chiming in on the YouTube page. No Murphy Clement tonight for Martinsburg, out with a season-ending foot injury that he suffered in the first quarter last week against Spring Valley, but managed to play 3 quarters on that injury. Here we go, second quarter getting underway. Second down and 8, and a snap back, and the football's free. Did Martinsburg get it? No, I don't think so. It looks like Cameron Cole was able to get back to that loose football, but flags are down. They may have been blowing it dead anyway. Illegal shift on the offense, and that will be a 5-yard penalty.
Illegal shift.
Well, a rare kind of miscue and an opportunity potentially. Obviously, the penalty taking that away anyway. But, great job by Cole to fall on that football. Bridgeport's only lost, I think, 8 fumbles this entire season. So they're not going to turn it over, or at least usually don't turn it over.
Martinsburg is going to go ahead and decline that penalty as it ends up being a loss of a yard on that fumble recovery. And so it will bring up a 3rd down and 9. And so for a team that doesn't throw the ball much, you go ahead and keep them in a 3rd down and long situation as opposed to giving them an extra down, even though there would be some more yards to try to come up with.
It wouldn't be a bad idea, Matt, for Bridgeport to maybe try something, some sort of trick play, maybe catch Martinsburg off north.
Snap back, and Cole does want to throw, steps up in the pocket, throwing deep, and incomplete, almost intercepted by Hudson Clement on the pass that was intended for Nathan Lotsky. Lotsky is their leading receiver on the season. Get ready for the numbers. 8 catches all year, 281 yards. Oh, yeah, but 5 of the 8 catches, touchdowns.
Yeah, he's a red zone threat. You kind of like him in fantasy a little bit because sometimes he'll fall in the end zone for you. But, yeah, they're not known for throwing the football. And he's going to be their go-to guy when they do try to throw it. But, again, not very often.
The punter is Colton Miller. Snap goes back, and that kick is away. Low line drive kick, going to bounce to the 45, taken by Hudson Clement, and hit and taken down immediately at the 47. And a very late flag comes in from well in behind the play, so we'll have to wait and see what that is going to be.
Not certain what it would be, but it did come in there toward the end. I'm not certain they thought maybe it was a head hit. Now we got a block on it.
Only about 26 yards on the punt itself, but now it is a penalty against Martinsburg for a block in the back. And so that is going to push the Bulldogs in the wrong direction for their second offensive possession. Illegal block. -10. That's 2 penalties, 20 yards now called on Martinsburg.
Well, that's frustrating, obviously, for Martinsburg. Not only a penalty, but also a situation now that it really shouldn't happen because it's a short punt and you're going to have good field position. So there was no real reason to have that kind of penalty if you're the Bulldogs.
Well, the Dogs on their opening possession went 14 plays, took it from their own 20 down to the 7 of Bridgeport before being turned away. Let me again turn our camera. As Ezra Bajan brings a man in motion, hands him the football. The jet sweep for Hudson Clement, looking for running room, does get outside the numbers, stays in bounds along the far sideline as he steps back to his right at the 45 and takes it down to the 40-yard line. About 17 yards.
Hudson Clement maybe run the football a little bit more without Murphy Clement for the rest of the season. And on the year, that was just his 9th carry, but he averages almost 14 yards a carry. So he can definitely be effective if you get the football in his hands in any numerous ways.
On first down and 10 now from the Bridgeport 40. Bajan taking the snap, looking near side, lets it go, receiver screen, that's caught by, it's Cash Gideon, I believe, and he makes a move to try to get around a couple of defensive backs, but just not much of an opening there. Still a nice pickup, though, on first down as they'll mark it at the 33, and that gain good for 7.
32-yard line, 2nd down, 3.
Cash Gideon has done well this season. He's one of the youngsters for Martinsburg, just a freshman. So from the 33 on a 2nd and 3, wanting to throw Bajan over the middle and tip, juggled, held on to by Jacob Barrett. Tackled on the play by Derek Starkey, but not until the 10-yard line. Make it the 11-yard line, and Martinsburg will have it first and 10.
Good coverage by Starkey there, but an even better catch by Jacob.
Get you back to a better shot. Colin McLaughlin, our man on the spot here, able to help get everything back in order for us. The Dogs with a 4-play drive, covers 57 yards. We'll give you the time of that drive here in just a moment. 1 minute and 6 seconds, all that it would take. So Martinsburg gets the touchdown for the early 7-0 lead. I say early, we're already in the second quarter, 10:18 to play in our first half.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe you have an answer for me here on this, but I don't think Martinsburg, has there been a time when they haven't scored in the first quarter of this season? Because usually it is an early lead for the Bulldogs, but not in this situation.
Yeah, I'd have to go back and look directly, but no, you're right. I don't believe there has been a first quarter like that all year. Popped up kick along the far side between the hash marks and the numbers, taken in on a fair catch at about the 28-29 yard line. I believe that was number 10. That would be Tyler Martin, listed as a junior running back and safety, pulling in that fair catch. 10:18 to play, first half, 7-0 the Bulldog advantage, and now Bridgeport from their own 29, ready with their third offensive possession.
Well, one thing you don't want to do if you're Bridgeport is get behind in this ball game. They're obviously not really a team that's built to come back. 7 is fine, but you don't want to get down 14, 20, 21 points and have to worry about really trying.
Great job by Cam Shallis filling that hole. I think that was Herring there as well. As the snap went back to Cameron Cole. Cole off the right side, and there was just no place to go.
Yeah, and now maybe Martinsburg obviously playing with a lot of confidence with the lead, and also, knowing kind of how to defend this run more and more as this game goes on.
Gain of a yard after that 30, so a 2nd down and 9 coming. There is the snap back, a bit of a low snap. Nice job by Landon Repper to pick that one up right around his ankles and then dart straight ahead. He's across the 35 to the 36. A 6-yard gain after that play initially looked like it could be a disaster.
Yeah, not a great snap there, but between blocks, the left side of the line to kind of open up that hole. Isaiah West had a nice down block that allowed Cole to kind of just slip by it and pick up a solid pickup.
A big 3rd down and 3 coming here. Snap goes back, and it's going to be Reppert again. Straight ahead, bouncing off of tacklers, getting outside the numbers to the far sideline, shoved out of bounds over on that far side. That's Kai Fagan. No, that was Jacob Barrick who pushed him out of bounds, but not until that Bulldog 46.
Reppert almost looking like John Riggins in the Super Bowl. I mean, he's just running hard, running guys over. Great run there.
Now 2 of 4 on 3rd down conversions. Bridgeport keeping this drive alive. We'll have it 1st and 10 in Bulldog territory. And hang on, we have an official's timeout. Great run by Reppert. He is their leading rusher, just picked up 18 yards there, so give him 7 carries for what we would have is about 53 yards in the early going of this one.
Official timeout.
You look at his numbers. Reppert 1,424 yards and 15 rushing touchdowns coming in. Cameron Cole, their leading ball carrier at 1,500 yards and 24 touchdowns. All right, whatever that brief timeout was about, things are squared away, and from the Bulldog 46, Paulson in the backfield along with Reppert, and Paulson takes that direct snap, bowls his way straight forward. And Aiden Paulson getting down to about that Martinsburg 43. So give him 3 yards. Read a nice article on Paulson. Been a baseball player through his high school career. Decided as a senior it's time to get back out here and play some football. And he's had a very productive year as he'll look to go over 600 yards if he can come up with just 16 rushing yards tonight. And he's almost got that now.
That's a sign of a really good athlete. You don't see too many guys that take 4 years off or 3 years of football and come back and have 600 yards in one season.
Boy, just no place to go there as the hole very quickly filling up. That time, Charlie Brazier with the carry. First time that we've seen him in that situation. He got back to the line of scrimmage and not much more, maybe a half a yard at best. From just inside of that Bulldog 42, it brings up 3rd down and 6. Play calling coming from the far sideline. Snap goes back. Reppert looking for running room. Breaks through, tackles off that right side of the line. He is very good, just keeping those legs churning down inside the Bulldog 35 to the 33.
I didn't see a first down run coming on that play initially. It looked like Martinsburg got some decent penetration, but then good blocking and just hard running by Reppert makes him tough to bring down, and obviously a nice first down run.
9 yards on a 3rd down and 6, and yes, they do pick up that first down. I've got 8 carries now for 62 yards in the early going for Landon Reppert. He's looking good. 2 men in that backfield. Snap goes back. That's Cole. Started left. A little cutback move to his right. Hit and brought down at the 31-yard line. Off the pile for Martinsburg. E.J. Hendricks set it down closer to that 30, so we'll call that a 3-yard gain. 6 carries, about 12 yards now for Cole. 2nd and 7 coming from that Bulldog 30. 8th play of this possession. 6:35 on a running first half clock. 7-0 Martinsburg, but Bridgeport moving. See if we can turn our camera a little bit. Our apologies again. There is the snap back. Penalty marker is down on that again. Straight ahead run. Let's wait and see what the penalty will be as Reppert took that football down to about the 26. Illegal procedure. So movement early.
Yeah, while the play won't matter, that's one of those plays where Bridgeport, with all their movement, makes it really difficult for the defense to know who has the football. Barrick got a hit on Cole. Now, it's possible that his assignment was just quarterback, so he just took the quarterback. But also, I had no idea that Reppert was running about 5, 6, 7 yards down the field.
So move it back just outside the 35. It'll become a 2nd down, roughly 12. Again, our apologies. Thanks for everybody on our YouTube page commenting about the camera angle. We're trying to keep stats, call the game in, run the little camera as the ball is loose in the backfield. And Bridgeport's Cam Cole able to dive on that one, but a loss all the way back to the 41 -6.
It seems like when Bridgeport gets behind the sticks, they've just been making even more mistakes that really take away what they had on that drive. They get a penalty and they're now bad snaps, and now they have 3rd and 22. a situation that you want.
No, not at all. Third down and very long. Again, two backs in the backfield, and they will hand it off, and Reppert straight ahead running, able to get back down to about the 36, so a gain of 5, and now it's fourth down.
Martinsburg's linebackers are really just the second level of the defense, doing a good job tackling for the most part in situations like that, because pretty much everybody on Martinsburg's offensive line got their block.
So fourth down and about 13 yards to go for a first. Backing up on it and then taking that one and punting it out of there for Bridgeport. Waiting to see the number as the young man turns, and that is a 10. So Tyler Martin took that direct snap, and then Pooch kicked it, and it goes out of bounds along that far sideline at the 12.
Well, the game is not going the way Bridgeport wants on the scoreboard in terms of time of possession, stuff like that. But this game is playing in their favor to have it only be 7-0 with 4:37 to go already here in this first half. Obviously, the Indians would like to be leading 7-0 or have it be tied at 7 because they've had some opportunities. But in terms of how this game's playing out, Bridgeport's got to be pretty happy with it so far.
4:37 to play here in this first half, and Martinsburg takes over their third offensive possession from their own 12-yard line, and on a first down carry, Xavion Kendall able to get to the 15 for a pickup of about 3. Second down and 7 coming now from the 15. Martinsburg without Braxton Todd, who has missed most of the season. Now also without Murphy Clement, who injured his foot in the last game, that quarterfinal round win against Spring Valley. Xavion Kendall to the right side of the quarterback. Man comes in motion. Ezra Bajan, play action pass deep along the near side, looking for Jacob Barrick. Leaps up into the air and could not pull it in. Tyler Martin got back just in time to get a hand up in there and help disrupt Barrick from trying to bring it in.
Yeah, I mean, not an ideal matchup for Bridgeport to have Barrick against Martin, but it worked out all right. And obviously, jump ball, it's a good throw, a good decision to take advantage of that. But Martin worked his way back and made a decent play on the football.
So now the Bulldogs on the third down and long, and Bajan caught in the backfield, could not get away, sacked on the play. Great tackle by Aiden Sparks.
Well, that's the second time he's been able to get in that backfield. I think Sparks has both of them.
Yep, he's got a pair of sacks now as that tackle came back at about the 12 for -3. And now Bajan will get ready to pooch punt it out of there. Nice kick. That one is going to bounce near the midfield stripe, take a sideways bounce, a little backwards as well, and will be touched by Barrick at the 46-yard line.
Normally, Matt, we can't really hear the coaches because we got our headsets on, but we can hear them, or at least I could hear them kind of saying, like, don't put your guy back yet, because obviously Bajan, a quarterback, but he can punt as well. And they were a little bit worried about a potential pass there, but good job by the Indians to get that crucial stop now, and they have a chance to tie this game up before halftime.
All right, Bridgeport taking over now at the 46-yard line. Snap is back, and there was a handoff that time. I believe it was Reppert again. Yep. Landon Reppert. He's going to get a bunch of carries here tonight. Able to get down to about the 42-yard line for a gain of 4.
I'm just surprised we haven't seen as much of Cameron Cole in this first half. It has been mainly Reppert getting the football. So I don't know if they just seen some soft spots maybe in the middle of the defense that they would like to take advantage of.
Sass that Reppert has had. Snap directly goes back to Reppert this time. Straight ahead, pushes his way forward, down to about the Bulldog 38.
Yeah, I mean, he's not going on, or he's not going down on just one, arm tackle or anything like that, so he's made it difficult on the Bulldog defense. And if he keeps doing that, that will allow them to try to tire out Martinsburg, which is essentially their game plan, is to run it as much as they can until the defense gets tired. So even if you're only getting, 3 or 4 yards of carry, eventually those turn into the big runs, and then the game allow you to get points.
On 3rd down and 2, handoff going to Aiden Paulson on a little end around. He was a wing back to the right, came in motion to the left, turned it upfield and gets to the 35, and that gain of 3 is good for the first. So there they sneak Paulson in with another carry. 5 carries, about 17 yards for him. Now 4 of 7 on 3rd down conversions, getting unofficially their 6th first down in this first half. And from the 35 of Martinsburg, 1st and 10, 7-0 is the lead for Martinsburg. Man in motion, snap is back, new quarterback, and down he goes as Jacob Barrett quickly getting in on Anthony Spatafor and bringing them the quarterback in the backfield.
I don't like that play for Bridgeport. They've been running it solidly up the middle. Why go in the air there? Now you put yourself way behind the chains. You take away what you've been doing well offensively, and you put yourself in a pretty difficult situation. I just don't understand why you would want to take that shot.
A loss of about 7 sets up a 2nd down and 17, and now they go back to what you might expect, the basic ground game, and Reppert off the right side of the line, able to get to the 39-yard line for a pickup of about 3. So still a 3rd and roughly 15 for a first. See if the Bulldogs can make a stop. Snap is back. There's a quick pitch, and that's Cole looking to turn the corner on that right side and won't get a whole lot. Barrick there for the Bulldogs. Looking to see who the other is. Fagan is over there, but I think Herring is over there as well. Yeah, a whole host of Bulldogs helping. So Cole picks up 1, and now the punting unit is on.
Good job there, Martinsburg. Segmented, but also aware of that pitch. And didn't allow that to trick them, and they still made that play.
So Miller is on to punt near midfield. He takes that snap, gets it out of there, angling far side, hits near the sideline, and then bounces out, and it looks like it'll get marked at the 14-yard line. So the Dogs again will start from deep in their own territory. Last possession started at the 12. This one from their own 14. And wow, just 27 seconds when you quickly look up at that clock and go, where did time go?
Yeah, it's flown by. I don't know if it's because we can't take any breaks or what it is, but it's gone by really quick. I think obviously not a whole lot of scoring either contributing to that, so very quick first half.
27 seconds left from their own 14. Bajan awaiting the snap. He's got it. Gives a pitch to Hudson Clement, throwing along the near side, in and out of the hands of Roman Pearson, who just could not make the juggling catch at the 45-yard line, and it may not matter anyway. Penalty marker down in the backfield, and they'll call a hold.
Martinsburg kind of taking the play out of Bridgeport's playbook in terms of motion and trying to take a shot downfield. Didn't matter because of the penalty, but Hudson Clement, he can throw a little bit.
He can. He showed it there. It's incomplete, but there was a 10-yard holding penalty, and for Martinsburg, 3 penalties, 30 yards now in this one. We just got word, by the way, that power has been restored, so our second half should get back to normal. That is good news. Well, Ezra Bajan just going to take the snap and go to a knee at about the 5-yard line as the ball got moved back to the 7. After that holding penalty, it was half the distance to the goal, so it was 1st and 17. And now there it is, the end of the first half. All right. I just got word that they have restored power, so we're going to end up cutting off our first half broadcast through our YouTube page right now, and we will be in contact with Spencer back at the studio, and we will then establish our broadcast through YouTube. So if you're watching us through our YouTube channel now, you are about to lose it, but stay with us. You can pull it right back up, and then we will get everything back to normal for our second half. So we are at the intermission, a tight one here as Martinsburg leads Bridgeport 7-0. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a bit.